Mhm. So, that's it. Let's see. Hmm. All right, guys, what's up? A lot of y'all have said that y'all want a Q&A. So I'm doing a test to test this YouTube live stream thing out. It appears to work from here. It's much appreciated, Chris. Yeah, it looks like this YouTube live stream is actually pretty simple. Yeah. If all goes well, then next time I do this, I'll have that Q&A y'all keep asking for. Shoot, let's see if we can get a few more people in here, and maybe I'll answer some questions right here. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. How y'all doing today? While we're running this little, I guess, trial run, you could call it. All right, we got some more people in here. And for those y'all that are just joining us, I'm running a little test because y'all have said this last video I posted. Y'all really want a Q&A for Ubereats. So I'm giving this a little test, but it looks pretty simple. So we'll definitely be having that Q&A. But shoot, while I'm running the test, y'all got access to me. So y'all got any questions for me right now? Hmm. Well, protecting ourselves from no-win situations has been my focus lately. I'm assuming you're talking about the satisfaction rate when you get in a situation and you know it's going to be janky, right? And just right off the bat, you know they're going to rate you thumbs down. Um, Difference between canceling an order before or after picking up an order. All right, the difference between canceling an order before is you can cancel the order and there won't really be any problem. Of course, it will affect your cancellation rate, but as long as you keep that under 20%, then you'll be good. But if you cancel after you pick up an order, that's when they look at it as there's going to be some repercussions. I haven't personally encountered any, but you got to look at it from Uber's perspective. You pick up the order, you say you can do it, and then shoot, you can't do it. Now, the exception is if you arrive at the pickup, you call the person, they don't answer, and then you hit that button saying that I can reach them, and then you wait your 5 minutes, and then they say you cancel this order, you'll be paid for it. That doesn't count. Um, those situations that you're talking about, I actually will be coming out with a video on that soon. But I had a situation like that recently. This guy, he lived in an apartment which I knew had a gate code, which I didn't know, and the elevator, you need a keypad to go up, and the office is closed, so there's no conciliary. So I send my standard message to ask, hey, what's the gate code, or Do you want to meet me somewhere? No answer. I get there, I slid in because someone happened to be coming out. But I knew I wasn't going to get up the elevator. So when that happened, I called him. I get an answer, but the dude didn't say nothing. So after trying to get him to talk for 30 seconds, I hung up and pressed that button. And then he says, "Hey, I'll meet you down here." And then he just literally walked around the corner. I'm like, what the hell? And then he got mad saying that you let Uber know that you can reach me because I answered the phone. And I told him, you know, you weren't answering the phone, dude. So I already knew he was going to rate me down. That's what took my satisfaction rate down from 100%. And in that situation, I thought about it. You know what? The better case scenario, just cancel that order. You already pressed the button where you press the button where it lets you know that you'll be paid for this order regardless. Just press that button, and the only difference between going through with it and pressing the button is they don't get to rate you, and they also don't get to tip you. But you already know they're not going to tip you, so just cancel the order. Then that way you'll be paid for it, but it doesn't affect your satisfaction rate because it's not fair. Maybe they're having a bad day or whatever, but you shouldn't have to take the fall for it. Does that answer your question, Chris? Similar thing yesterday. I picked up and delivered the order, but they were extremely particular about salt on the fries. No salt, and it's McDonald's, so that wasn't going to end well. Yeah, like in situations like that, so I delivered the food and then canceled under other, citing food delivered, but could not help with the salt issue. Hey, more power to you. I got paid, but was not on my record. It looks like you've already mastered the game. Look, I hate that we gotta play it like that. We shouldn't have to, but there needs to be some kind of arbitrary process to these ratings because someone can rate you bad just because they're having a bad day. Is it likely? I guess it depends on your area. I will say this: certain sections of every city are better than others. So if you're noticing you're getting a lot of crap from certain areas of the city, maybe try to avoid those areas. I'm not gonna lie. Dallas has certain spots that I don't service for the reasons that you are mentioning. I don't want to go through a whole bunch of crap. Plus, you want to be delivering to people who are appreciatory of your service. If you notice that a certain section of the city isn't really, I tend to kind of back away from that area. Um, Me and a friend were talking the other day. Like drivers and delivery drivers, I don't even think we should have a rating. Now, I said this in the Ubereats courses. It's dorky. It's ridiculous. I think we should have that feedback, but as far as the satisfaction rating, that's stupid. Now, what do y'all think of the satisfaction rating? Y'all agree with it? Y'all think it's kind of stupid, like me? Let me pull up mine right now. But yeah, the way I say the satisfaction should go. What's up, Jose? We're running the live stream test, which basically it's the information I needed to do a Q&A. But you know what? We're getting enough people in here. We might as well just go ahead and do a Q&A right now. Yeah, I got the time. Um, I'll hang around for 30 minutes. So you know what? Forget the live stream. I'll still do another Q&A because this is named live stream test. So that's not going to bring in all the people. I'll do another one. But we're in the QA now. So feel free to ask questions. I find that 40% of people tend to rate it all, which is more the issue in my mind since almost 100% of unsatisfied people will rate. All right. So Uber should do something to encourage people to rate more if they are going to have this system in place. Because these out of my control situations have come up 3 to 5 times out of the first 230 deliveries. It's not a big deal, but at 40% feedback, it's more difficult. Yeah, you got a point. So if they're going to have this feedback system in place, kind of how it's mandatory for us to rate the customer, the pickup, like we can't proceed until we give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down and give the reason why. Would you say it should be like that just for everyone on the customer side too? Because that way it will ensure that you are getting rated more. Because you have people that are not going to rate you. Maybe they forgot, maybe they don't realize it, or whatever the situation may be. You do have a lot of people that don't rate you. Don't you think they should consider drivers who do Uber Eats only to get the orders first over drivers who do both? uh, I'm not sure I agree with that, Jose. The Uber Eats only drivers, and I'm a dual platformer, so I do UberX and Uber Eats. So you could say that I have a bias, but the Uber Eats only drivers, they do have some advantages over UberX, over the dual platformers, because on the Uber Eats only, it shows like those little spots of activity to let you know what areas of the city have the most activity. The dual platformers don't have that. We just have the surge on UberX. So it could be popping right around the corner for us in Uber Eats, but we wouldn't know it. And generally speaking, it's going to vary, but usually the Eats only, they have higher boosts and more quests. The reason being because Uber has a strict budget for every single delivery partner. And that budget is spread out through UberX and Uber Eats for dual platformers. So since I do both, they have to offer me UberX boosts and Uber Eats boosts and UberX Quest and Uber Eats Quest. Now they're dividing that money up, so usually the boost is going to be a lot lower than let's say for Uber Eats only driver, who they only have to give them boosts and quests for Uber Eats. So the boost is usually going to be higher. Like one of my friends, he's a Uber Eats only. Like we compare our boosts, and a lot of times I'll have like a 1.3, 1.4 for deliveries, and he'll have like a 1.5 and a 1.7. The Eats only kind of already do have some advantages, but I don't think they should be given priority over orders. Makes sense. Never saw it from that perspective. One thing is Uber doesn't make this really known. Like the reason I know is literally through experience and talking with other drivers, etc. I mean, if this was made known, I think it would balance the equation. But I will say that they should do more to value the Uber Eats only fleet because sometimes I think they rely too much on the dual platformers. Because regardless of how they feel about it, UberX is going to get busy. And when it gets busy, UberX drivers, they're not going to really be taking deliveries. If it's surging 3.0 and higher in the city, do you think anyone is going to care about Uber Eats? Now, note that if we take a delivery, we will get that surge. But, there's only so far Uber Eats delivery can go. Let's say you pick up a passenger on a 3.0 surge and they're going to the airport. I think I'd rather have that over, Eats, which is only going to go so far. So that they should do some things to value the Uber Eats only fleet because there's going to come times where the Uber X drivers they're not going to do Uber Eats because their hands are full with Uber X. So they should do some things to value y'all a little more. If anything, I would say the boost should be maybe a little higher just for Uber Eats drivers only. A lot of drivers complain about delivering food. Yeah, I think that's ridiculous, Jose. I mean, there's so many different things that people could be doing that they really, really, really don't like. Like I used to be a process assistant for Amazon.com, the first level management, and people would come in, breaking their back and doing all this manual labor. And the funny thing is, what they were getting paid, I guarantee you, it was less than how much you can make on Uber Eats. Meaning, you can make around easily around, let's say, $15 per hour if you know how to do Uber Eats right. But you got people, literally breaking their back trying to make 11 or $12 an hour. And then you got, when you look at it from that perspective, you got people who are complaining about delivering some food. I mean, really? But some people are just natural complainers. I don't. There's nothing you can do to satisfy them. You can make things as easy as simple as possible, and they're still gonna find something to complain about. Shoot. I live in a market that doesn't have Ubereats yet. Oh wow. Do you do other platforms besides Uber? Um, as far as I'm assuming, like you mean, do I drive for Lyft or Postmates or DoorDash or Favor or any of that stuff? Um, I have, and I actually have recorded videos on this topic. Of course, the issue with the MacBook, they're just sitting on my external hard drive. But I do have a Lyft as a backup for Uber, and Postmates as a backup for Uber Eats because these apps aren't exempt from crashing. So I don't want the money that's generated from apps to completely just disappear for a day or two just because the Uber app crashed. I do have backups, but generally I rarely get on them. Like I'm not one of those cats that hops on a whole bunch of apps. It's my it's my experience that if you can focus and master the app that you use primary, you can get all the money you need from that one app. And we got to remember that these apps are supposed to be a Trojan horse. They get us where we need to go financially. We're not supposed to get deeper and deeper in the app industry. You you get what you need from these apps, and eventually you're not going to need them anymore. Then you toss them to the side. But when you get on a whole bunch of them, it's like you're cementing your presence in the app world. And we got to remember that it's not. It's supposed to get you from point A to point B. Let's see. Are Uber Eats boosts offered to all drivers in an area, or are they offered to only certain drivers in the area based on one's performance? Um, the Uber Eats boost, the only thing that contributes to boost being in effect or not is customer demand and which account do you have. So do you have a dual account, meaning UberX and Uber Eats, or do you have an Uber Eats only account? Those are the only things that affect boost. Now, I think that's a great idea. If you have a very unique skill set, you're making all this money with Uber Eats, and you know what? Let's make that satisfaction rate actually something useful. If you have between 95 and 100% satisfaction rate, why can't you get offered higher boosts? What do y'all think about that? I mean, why don't we put some actual use to that goofy satisfaction rate? How much can you make doing Uber Eats in Miami? Every market is going to be different, but generally speaking, that's why I use the range between $11 to $18 an hour because regardless of your market, if you follow the advice in the Uber Eats course, you can make between that range. Now, you want to get the maximum you can out of your market. So you can talk to other drivers in Miami, or what? I actually do know someone in Miami. He makes between $15 and $20 an hour, and he knows how to he knows the hot restaurants, what time to drive, etc. So I would say that that's the potential of how much you can make. Um, yeah, you would definitely have to put the work in just to know where to hang out, what your area's hotspots are. what restaurants to go to, etc. And that comes from experience. Here in VA, on a good night, I average around $17 an hour, and slower hours from $12 to $16 an hour. Okay. One thing about doing Uber Eats at nighttime, usually they do offer higher boosts overnight in certain circumstances. So, like it's not crazy to see like a 1.7, or I've actually seen a 3.0 overnight. So that is something to think about. If you do want the higher boost, you could do overnight. I'm actually not the biggest fan of overnight because I don't like drive-throughs. Like to me, I feel they should bring the food out to you if they're gonna be partnered with Uber Eats, especially McDonald's. Like you got these other app companies that are affiliated with these restaurants, but McDonald's is married to Uber Eats. They only have a partnership with Uber Eats. So you saying they can't integrate in their business system when an Uber Eats driver goes out, you just go and unlock the door and give them the food. You're gonna have us wait through that long ass drive through of 15 or 20 cars. That's why they're offering like these boosts that's like 1.7 and above. I think that's the wrong course of action. Just tell them, look, just open the door for our partners so they don't have to wait. But whatever, Uber does some weird things when it comes to business. Because I do Postmates and it's really slow. Like I can't even get more than 8 deliveries a day. Dang. If it's that slow, the thing about Postmates, and Postmates is the one that I have as a backup. Um, with Uber Eats, I can predict where the hotspots are based on that. When I predict, I know where the hotspots are based on that algorithm, and I know how far an order has potential to go based on the algorithm. It's predictable. But Postmates is kind of random, and that's part of the reason I just kind of stick with Uber Eats. Like you can get an order, and it takes you all the way over here, and you can't even look at the situation like how did I get that type of order, and how can I determine how far it's going to go? It just seems kind of random. On a slow night, I never get boosts to the areas I do though. I stopped overnight after so many McDonald orders. Hey, I'm not mad at you. Yeah. Plus, a certain type of crowd orders from McDonald's. You have cats ordering food and they might be high, and then you get there and you're calling them and they're passed out on the floor or something. So you got to start the whole process of getting paid when they don't, when you can't reach them. It's like, no, I don't have to deal with this. I can just do it over the daytime. McDonald's orders are annoying and say a really short distance, and as you mentioned, especially overnight. Um, Uber made a deal with McDonald's so that they're all guaranteed under 30 minutes. So the customer has a guarantee at maximum it's going to be 30 minutes. Now, a lot of times it's shorter. Like, pull up the customer app, you'll see like this McDonald's has a 15 or 25-minute guarantee. And that's the overall order. So by the time you get there and pick up the food, all the time it would take to get to the restaurant, it's not going to go past 5 minutes. That's why they don't go far. I would say that Uber Eats really needs to make a category just for McDonald's to incentivize drivers to go there. Because I'm going to be honest, I actually don't do McDonald's anymore. It has to be, they either have to have a boost or I'm after a quest. If it's none of those, I don't, when the ping comes up and I see the address that says McDonald's, I just let it go. Or I say no thanks. Yeah, it's brutal. It's popping dinner time and overnight. I do get tips for every delivery though. Okay. The thing about tips is, well, we covered it in part 6, and also when I explained like why people's tips are low. It's a moody thing, so it's up to you as a driver to make them feel good, and you can do it with some jokes. But look visually your best, and the biggest thing is how fast you get your food to them. Like they're looking at you on the app, and if you can get it to them like a full minute or two faster than the other times that they've ordered Uber Eats, a lot of times they'll tip for that. That's more applicable in apartments. Like houses is pretty simple, but if you message them, get the gate code, find their apartment real fast, knock on the door, smile, hand them the food, look visually impressive, yo, bam. That's when they really start tipping. And if you do that for every single delivery, the tips add up. I agree. McDonald's would make a killing if they deliver quality food quicker. Yeah, most definitely. Which is more popular, Uber Eats, DoorDash, or Postmates? That's going to depend on the market. I would say Uber Eats is market share wise of America. Uber Eats has more market share than DoorDash and Postmates. Now in Dallas, Dallas is actually one of the highest Uber Eats markets from a customer's perspective. They have the majority of market share in Dallas. Does Uber Eats pay by delivery or by how much the bill is? They pay by delivery. Well, they pay by distance. Let's put it that way. So you get a pickup fee, and then the distance from the restaurant to the location. That's what you're getting paid on. Now, if there's a boost involved, let's say it's a 1.3. Let's break the boost down. The boost, when you see 1 point, just think of it as percentage. So 1.3 means 30%. 1.2 means 20%. 1.5 means 50%. And that means that percentage is going to be added on the distance. By delivery, yeah, he's answering the question. Is there a minimum pay Uber Eats pays, and do you keep all your tips? Yep, you keep 100% of your tips. Like none of it goes to the restaurant or anything like that. 100% of the tips go to the delivery driver. And is there a minimum pay? There's a pickup fee. Then there's a distance. I would say the minimum pay is gonna at least be $3.50. But if you're like me, restaurants that pay that little, you're not gonna go to unless you're trying to hit like a quest and you know they're gonna be short. Like there are restaurants that you know they're gonna go short based on that customer app. Like if it's between 10 to 15 minutes, you know they're not going nowhere. Don't unless they're next to a highway, then they could still go far. In your opinion, do you think they should have hourly pay as well? Uh, no. I say that because it'll become too similar to a job. I really do like this independent contracting relationship with these apps. Oh, with Uber. Like some of these apps, that's actually why I don't like Lyft that much. They really have an employee theme. And, yeah, I've been self-employed for about a year and some change, and I don't have any desire to even return to a job scenario. So I wouldn't be all that excited about hourly pay. Plus, when you start guaranteeing like a certain amount per hour, that's when things start getting too regulated. Like right now, if you know the Uber Eats algorithm, you know your restaurants, you know your hotspots, you are going to make the maximum in your market, period. Now, if they start paying hourly, it starts getting more regulated so that you and the person next to you are making the same amount of money, which wouldn't be a bad thing, but usually that means that you're not going to make the maximum amount that you were making. Let's say you know how to make $18 an hour Uber Eats, but they start doing this hourly thing, and before you know it, you and the person next to you are both making $15 an hour. The person next to you was only making $12 an hour, so they're happy. They, got more money, but your pay decreased. I'm like, no, I like using my smarts and expertise to earn more money. Now, I'd be willing to share those tactics with you, but just because you're not doing well, I shouldn't have to take a drop in pay. At least that's how I see it. Maybe the hourly guarantee might work better for markets that are very, 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 they're, maybe they're just not big and they need to incentivize drivers more so they have a $15 guarantee. But for markets that are really popping, I would say no. How many hours on average do you work? Hmm. Let's see. Um, usually it's between 20 and 35 hours. Like, let's see. How many? Let me see how many hours have I put in this week. 26 hours and 20 minutes. And I'm not going to do any Uber Eats today. So, yeah, that's about my average. Other drivers I've seen seem to be off and mistaken about Uber Eats. But at the same time, every market is different too. Um, why would you say, like, what things are you hearing that is different about these other people talking about Uber Eats? Because I know Uber Eats does get a lot of hate. And it's because the tips that I see in the Uber Eats course, if you don't apply them, you can be making chunk change. Like, it's not that surprising to be making $9 an hour if you don't follow those tips. And you know if you're gonna make $9 an hour, you might as well go apply for Walmart. So I don't blame them for stopping, but they didn't try their best to really master this. So then they condemn the whole thing. I always say if the person next to you is making twice your amount of money, maybe you should just ask them for help. See. I also often get asked by drivers from other companies what Uber Eats is like. Yeah, that's pretty common. The a lot of people have heard certain things, so they're curious. They all tend to say you can't make any money and it's not the same. And the majority of the time, they never tried it. Bro, that's just the world. You got people that have an opinion about something that they haven't tried. I would say that what would qualify you to have an opinion about something should be your involvement in it. But if you haven't been involved in it, what do you have to say? Yeah, but a lot of people from other companies do ask about Uber Eats. The probably the most appealing thing is the automatic pickup. Most of those other companies, it's not guaranteed it's going to be automated pickup. Like with Postmates, that's what keeps it in the backup category for me. You don't know if you're going to have to place the order when you get there, or if you'll just be able to pick it up, or if you just pay for it with Postmates debit card. Like to me, that's information I like to know before I take it. But with Uber Eats, you know it's going to be an automatic instant pickup. Instant pickup is awesome. Oh yes, it is. Like the whole place and ordering all that, I honestly feel like you should be paid more for that. Like for every order you personally have to place, you are taking on part of that responsibility. And if you get something wrong, you rightfully get flagged for it. Like with Uber Eats, if the order is messed up, it's 100% the restaurant's fault. You had nothing to do with it. That's another thing I like about Uber Eats. They offer the most protection for the driver. And I'm not saying it's perfect. As Chris pointed out, they got their flaws too, and you got to find ways around that. But like I've had people like at the door, they looked at their order like before I walked up, said, "Hey, there's something wrong with this, etc." And I told them, they could contact Uber and let them know that something was wrong with their order, and they did that. But it doesn't affect me in the least. like I've had cases where the restaurant gave me the wrong order, and I confirmed like the name and I confirmed the order number, but they didn't confirm the order number. They just gave me, let's say, a common name, but John is a common name. There were two orders for John, so the customer got the wrong order, unfortunately, and they rated the restaurant down. I think in that situation, they might have some like they'll resubmit the order. But the best thing is it doesn't affect me as a driver because those are completely on the restaurant. Well, I know for Postmates, I worked 10 hours and only got 8 deliveries. I think in Miami, you need two apps open. Um, I would say before you add a second app, really try and master your primary app. Like I would submit a challenge to make at least $15 an hour with Uber Eats, and if you hit that, 16 next week. If you hit that, 17, etc. Now, let's say if you want to make $18 an hour and you're just not hitting it with one app, then might consider adding another one, I guess. But a lot of that is market sensitive. So if you feel like you do need two apps, I would say Postmates is a good backup. I mean, among all the other stuff, I would say it would be my next choice. And with Postmates, you would pick up food 2 miles from where you are, but then maybe someone located 15 miles away. I remember driving 20 miles away and was only tipped 2.66. Postmates paid me $12. Damn. That's what I mean by the unpredictability. Like Postmates, the order range where someone can order from, like all of that is really unpredictable. Like with Uber Eats, you if a restaurant has a 50-minute guarantee and it's next to a highway, you know it can go very, very far. So let's say if you can't afford to do that, you got to pick up your son from school or something, you're not going to take that. Versus, a McDonald's is not going far, so you could probably slide a McDonald's in within that time frame. It gives you this information beforehand. The rating system, I still hate. The For Uber Eats, I think the rating system in general is stupid. I don't think it should exist. It's stupid. It doesn't really do anything, in my opinion. Like for UberX, I can see why they have the rating system because you're having an interaction with your customer for 2 minutes to an hour based on how far they're going. With Uber Eats or these delivery apps, what they should be concerned about is their food. I mean, we have nothing to do with their food unless you're placing the order. But we talked about it on Uber Eats. You don't place orders; it's automatic pickup. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't started Uber Eats. I'm only doing Postmates, but it's really slow even in hotspots. Uh, yeah, I mean, doing Postmates is kind of hard to identify like hotspots. I know it shows that map where it shows the activity and based on it being red, but as far as you being able to go to a certain spot and you're going to get a ping within 5 minutes or within a certain time frame, all that is just rather unpredictable. So it's kind of hard. Let's see. Oh, that what happened with DoorDash too. It is annoying as hell. Exactly right. The rating system shouldn't exist low high. Yeah. Like I think the feedback system is fine. Like if a customer flags you for you toss their food around all over the place, so they got when they got to you a pizza was a scrambled and spaghetti. I think the feedback system, so if you did some, to fall back on certain things, I think that's fine. But satisfaction rate, stupid. I mean, they're gonna see you for half a second. Oh man, like when I first started doing Uber Eats, when I saw a satisfaction rate, I almost laughed. I did laugh on the spot. I was like, "What is this? Really?" Honestly, trying to be a good girl in Miami is making me poor. I'm about to. Sister. Okay. I find that parking is the biggest challenge. Also, why I love being able to decline orders. If it's Friday evening downtown, I know parking is non-existent. Oh yes. Some restaurants they don't if they can't reserve a spot for to go or reserve a spot just for apps, they don't need to be on the platform, especially downtown. Now, I've seen restaurants actually get kicked off the platform for that on Uber Eats because when you rate the thumbs down, they ask you why. You can pick no parking, and like most people don't know, the restaurants have two sets of ratings. They have the customer ratings, which the customer rates after every food, after every delivery. Then they have ratings for us. And if we're rating them too low, that can get them kicked off the platform too. Like if they're always getting flagged for long wait, long wait, etc. When it gets too low, they receive warnings from Uber, and when it gets low enough, they get the boot off the platform. I've seen it happen to some restaurants too. Let's see, I find it's impossible because you go to a lot of hotspots of Postmates, then they disappear. Um, and I would say if it's not working, you should try something else. I mean, I know you mentioned maybe having two apps in that might work in your market. I would say give it a try. Um, if something's not popping, it's probably because they don't have enough market share. I mean, the fleet of drivers can be saturated, but more than not, they probably just don't have enough market share. If you're not getting orders within 10 minutes, that means people aren't ordering. And that can happen on certain days. Like after the 4th of July, I knew that day was going to be slow because who's going to be ordering Uber Eats when they have leftover barbecue from the party they went to? That stuff like that will make the next day slow. But if it's always slow on the app, yeah, I would say they just don't have enough market share. Let's see. Often use the four-way flashes when I'm in not parking spots. I got an order yesterday from a pizza place in the middle of a festival where traffic was blocked off for blocks and around the restaurant. Declined. You did exactly what I would have did. Like parking is such a big deal because it really messes with the convenience of automatic pickup. I mean, you might walk in and pick up the food, but if it took you 10 minutes to get to the restaurant because you have to park a mile away, yeah, that's something you got to think about. I don't know if this happens, but when I go in the drive through at McDonald's, they have the nerve to say I have to come inside, even though it says I can go to the drive through. Really? Yeah, McDonald's got to work on that. Like some of them will let you come inside, but wait, Jose, was this in the daytime or nighttime? Like, it's gonna depend. If it's overnight, I would be doing a cartwheel if they let me go inside. If it's during the daytime, then they usually have a problem with you coming through the drive-through. Yeah, Miami Postmates is really slow. Even in it's really slow all over. Jose, both? Oh, uh, if that's the case, honestly, I think them letting you go inside overnight is a good thing. Because sometimes a drive through at McDonald's overnight, it'll be literally be like 15 cars. That's part of the reason I stopped doing McDonald's overnight. Uh, do they say like what they want you to do in like the note section? Because a lot of McDonald's say, "Hey, come to drive through. Hey, come inside." During a certain hours. Like, do they kind of allude which one they want you to do, or do they just leave you out in the blue? I'm gonna be honest. I really don't like McDonald's. Without McDonald's, once in a while, I don't know how I would ever find a bathroom. Uh, yeah, that's a good point. At least in the McDonald's, you were guaranteed that there's gonna be a restroom. Yeah, that's something to think about. So you need a restroom break. Let's see. Is this a restaurant? Is this a McDonald's ping coming through? I'll take it just so I can slide in the restroom and still be making some money. That's why I just go inside always because it's not worth wasting that time. And no right, when I pull up to the window, they say, "Oh, you're with Uber Eats. You have to come inside." Uh, I would rather take inside than waiting through a drive-through. To be honest, because the drive-through is so it could be no one and it could be a lot of people. Now, if it is no one, it'd be convenient not having to get out your car, but I can see their side of it as long as they make it known which one they want you to do. But I'll tell you this thing: they want me to come to the drive-through and it's 15 cars. That's an automatic cancel. I don't care what. I've had situations, and Taco Bueno is a problem too. I've had situations where it's 5 minutes to close, and they'll lock the door because they don't want any more customers in. Then I come in, you know, come to pick up the food. And sometimes they just say, oh, you got to go around, or they're signaling like go through the drive-through. I think I've had a scenario where I literally turned the phone to them and showed them that I'm canceling, and that's what I did. I canceled because that drive-through had like 10 cars. I'm like, you're not even technically closed. It's 9:55. Really? Oh man. Some the common theme here is these fast food restaurants. They got to really get their stuff together. Like the only fast food restaurant I have a good experience with all the time is Golden Chick, and they're just always on it. All right. We'll hang around for 15 more minutes, and I'll go ahead and end it. It's almost been an hour. I would say for McDonald's, Uber, they should do this because to me, it's not worth it unless you have a Quest or a Boost. So they should have like if you do a McDonald's, this contributes to like 5 McDonald orders. If you manage to slide 5 McDonald orders in a day, you get an extra something, extra $10. I don't know what it is, but they have to do something to make up for the fact that you are not going to make much money doing McDonald's, especially since half of them start getting the food ready when you get there. That's a no. Like I'm pretty sure y'all seen that a lot of times, right? You go on McDonald's, you get there, say with Uber Eats, and then they start getting the order ready. I'm already thinking about canceling. And if they're already making the order, that's different. I'm talking about like they start the process of making the order. This ain't Postmates. We just pick this stuff up. We're not supposed to wait, especially when you know a McDonald's ain't going far. Uh, Uber Gear I don't use. I use my own delivery bag, and I say do that, especially since they don't provide them anymore. I tend to vote down McDonald's if I have to line up and tell them my order number for them to even start the order. Yes, give them a thumbs down. Like that feedback process is there for a reason. They should none of these restaurants should be getting the food ready when we get there. Now there's certain circumstances where that happens for whatever reason. You're waiting 15 minutes, you can get the wait time fee if your area pays wait time fee. But even still, they still get a thumbs down because the customer is getting inconvenienced too. They're not going to make that time guarantee. Thumbs down, McDonald's. I'm not gonna crap all on McDonald's. Some of them, it's pretty cool. Like there's a McDonald's not too far away from where I stay, and I walk in, they have the food ready instantly. Like they just see this Uber, and then they confirm the name, confirm the order. Bam! It takes less than a minute. And the best thing is this McDonald's is surrounded by nothing but houses. So if you can slide 3, maybe 4 of those bad boys within an hour, hey, guess what? You're at 15, between $15 to $18 an hour. I can do that. But some of them, man, that ain't gonna be the case. Plus, McDonald's is literally the cheapest thing you can order on Uber Eats. So the chances of you getting a tip is just gonna be lower. Like out of all the McDonald's orders I've done since I started doing Uber Eats, I've gotten tipped 4 times. That's a financial problem. And when you take that McDonald's, you can pretty much guarantee most likely you're not going to get a tip. I have 2 bags. The other day, I put my smaller bag inside the bigger bag. And since the customers have been happier at the idea of their food, it's in 2 bags instead of one. So I'm going to keep doing it. That's setting you apart from other drivers. Like you're already ahead of the curve by having an insulated bag and by letting them see it. See, a lot of people have an insulated bag. They don't let their customers see it. So their food might be warm, but you're losing the advantage that you could have. If they see the insulated bag, they think you went through an extra mile. Now, if they see you have 2 bags, that's twice the heat, keeping the heat in. So that is putting you above the crowd. That could actually get you higher tips, Chris. That's a good strategy. I've had about 2 good experiences with McDonald's, and the rest, damn, I feel the hate low. Now, yeah, McDonald's, they got a. Uh, They, I can't even think of the words to describe them because they're so random. Like you got some that are on point, like the one I mentioned, and you got others. So you really gotta evaluate them and see if they're even worth it. In most cases, I would say that they're not worth it unless there's a boost or you're aiming to get some kind of quest. But just under normal circumstances, unless it's extremely slow, I'll just let a McDonald's slide. Shoot, that's enough about McDonald's. Have y'all, what's y'all experience with fast food in general, like Taco Bueno or like anywhere else? Has it been semi okay or kind of the same as McDonald's? Subway is always solid. Yeah, I've never had any problems with Subway. They're usually pretty legit. Like the most I've ever had to wait at a Subway is usually maybe 3 minutes. Like most of the time, they have it ready when I get there. Like that's the best thing a restaurant can really do is just have the food ready when you get there. And a lot of times, if they know it's going to be a minute, they'll offer you something to drink or something. That's fine, but I really just want to pick the food up and be on my way. But it is nice that they are, trying to make it right. Because you have some restaurants, they'll say it'll be like 10 minutes, and then they just go back. I'm like, so you want me to just wait here 10 minutes and you're not even going to try and make it right? And then you wonder why your like rating for us drivers is so low. Subway is pretty fast here. It's always been warm when I got it at Subway too. Yeah, I'd say fast food wise, Subway is the opposite of McDonald's. It's just overall smooth. You know, what other? I've been seeing cancel orders by the time you reach the restaurant. Uh, you know what, Jose? I got a solution for you. If you've actually reached the restaurant, if the order should still appear in your statement for like 5 minutes, they'll say 000. If you click on it, say I had an issue with this delivery, then tell Uber support the order got canceled when you went to the restaurant. A lot of times they'll still give you the pickup fee. Now the pickup fee isn't that much, but it's still something. You could give that a try. But yeah, that's really annoying. Like anytime canceled orders in general are annoying. Yeah, like there are certain circumstances where the Uber support they'll give you like the pickup fee if there's something unusual. Like there's a glitch where you get there and the restaurant has already given your order to another driver, and it's some kind of glitch going on with Uber Eats every now and then. And when that happens, you can call Uber support and they'll cancel the order for you. And then either the customer representative will say we'll give you the pickup fee for you driving there, or they'll tell you to submit an inquiry in the app, so they'll give you the pickup fee. Now it's not much, but you still should get something for wasting your time going there. Yeah, like stuff like that is one of the reasons that I really wanted to do a Q&A because I haven't made a video on stuff like that, but it can affect your bottom line. Of course, to be better, like I attended a panel where they were asking, Uber does these roundabout tables in local markets, and I actually got an invite to one of them, and they were asking for feedback. And I said, you know what, that pickup, the scenario that you just said, Jose, the pickup fee should be like the cancellation fee for Uber Eats. If the customer cancels, we should automatically, bam, get the pickup fee just automated like that. Just like the cancellation fee with Ubereats. Like you're driving and a customer cancels, and then it says cancellation fee given or cancellation fee received. That's how it should be when a customer cancels on Uber Eats and you've driven to the restaurant. Now, if you get the ping, then 2 seconds later they cancel. I can't blame them for not giving you something then. But yeah, what is a realistic delivery goal per day, and is it better to work weekends or weekdays? Hmm. Now, a lot of that is market sensitive, but I can tell you what I aim for personally. I usually aim between $100 and $140 per day. Like if I'm doing Uber Eats that whole day, that's usually what I aim for. Um, the key in achieving that depends on when you work. Like you really want to hit the lunch. I'll explain my Uber Eats day. If I'm doing Uber Eats not for nothing but that day, I will do the lunch rush, which is between 11 and 2 o'clock. Then I'll do the dinner rush between 5 and 10 o'clock, and I will do something between 2 and 5. Like sometimes it will stay busy, and I'll keep going, but eventually it is going to slow down because that time isn't popping. When that happens, the app goes off. I go grab something to eat. I grab something to eat, then it's usually time for dinner time, and that's when I finish out the day. But I would say you want to hit those two like major time frames, lunchtime and dinner time, and see how much you can make in those time frames for your market. Add them together, and then you'll get like an expectation of how much you can make per day. Weekdays versus weekends. Like for me, I make more on the weekdays. I say that because the weekends they're kind of random. I say random because there's nothing that's kind of shaping when people order. They just order when they feel like it. Versus during the weekdays, well, it's lunchtime. I have to eat to continue working. What am I going to eat from Uber Eats? Hey, it's dinner time. I don't feel like cooking. Or some people's like weekly ritual is every Friday or every Thursday, whatever they order Uber Eats. So that's just gonna always happen based on like the work scenario really shapes people's schedules, and you can take advantage of that cycle. The weekend is more of a when I feel like it thing, so it can be kind of random. See, I find the weather is a big impact on how busy it is. Rain is better than sun. Yeah, I would agree because a lot of people they don't want to get their oh let's just say they're not prepared for the rain. Like if it's raining, I'll have a poncho in the bag and I'll grab it if I want to continue doing deliveries. But some people they will just sign off at that point. They don't want to get their hair wet. They don't want to get wet. But you don't have to get wet. You just gotta be prepared. Put on a poncho and you're good. Any extreme weather condition is usually good too. Like my friend, he does a bunch of these apps. It was so cold one day, and I wasn't doing any deliveries that day, but he was, and he said he just got ping after ping after ping. But I tell you, that cat was dressed. It was like 19 or 20 degrees. He was dressed up. He was layered, dressed up. He had a freaking ski mask like Tommy Vercetti off of Grand Theft Auto Vice City. He was saying that when he would walk in, some people were being scared, like he was about to rob that joint. I'm like, man, dude, really? But he said he was just gonna get it in. Or if it's 100 degrees, you got people they won't. It's too hot for them. So any extreme weather condition usually does make it busier because a lot of drivers will fall back. See, yeah, on the weekends it's really slow unless you want to do Wendy's around 1 to 3 a.m. I, I will say the weekend munchies are in effect. Like nighttime on the weekends, that's a different story. But I'll confess, like I'm not the biggest nighttime person for Uber Eats, especially like I've been doing Uber Eats only for like the past few months to get the information for the course. But normally on the weekends, I'll be hitting the bar rush on Uber Uh, these cats be literally driving across the Metroplex just to get wasted. And then they got to go back on a 4.0 surge. I can't pass that up. Let's see. Weekday lunches are key. I'll make $80 an hour, 3 to 5 hours, in 3.5 hours. Yeah, like Chris has the right idea. Like when it comes to how much you want to make, it's more so when you drive versus like how many deliveries in a day. Like if you hit the key times, you'll be all right. But if you hit like a slow time, like between 2 and 5, you're not going to make nearly as much money. Yeah, test the waters, and there really no way. Okay. What kind of swag is that wearing a poncho? um, yeah, you're right. There's not much swag in wearing a poncho, but shoot, if I'm gonna be getting out here, I'm not gonna get drenched. Especially like these are, I don't say it's worth getting drenched for. Plus, you know what? They might admire that hustle. Like, dang, it's out here soaking, raining, and this cat has a poncho still getting it in, so they still might tip you. Yeah, nighttime on the weekends from 11 to 3 a.m. is popping, and that's Postmates. You will get about 5 deliveries, which from Postmates standard is a miracle. Yeah, Nicole, I would definitely try Ubereats out, especially like in Miami. Miami has a relatively good market from what I've heard, so I would give it a try out. Because it just sounds like Postmates doesn't have much market share. Like, there's not too much you can do about that, unless you're gonna enter full sales mode and print some flyers out and talk about Postmates and encourage them to get on some free food and stuff. But then again, if you're gonna do that, I guess you could. I would say that Postmates would need, like, if you go to the uberlifestyle.com, like my code is embedded in the site, and in most of my videos, like the referral code will pop up some, because I don't have it memorized. Let me just pull my phone up, because I will say this: you used to be able to design your code. Unfortunately, I got on after that. I think that's pretty boss though. Like, if you could say what you want your code to be, I mean, shoot, I think that would be pretty boss. Because this stuff, I don't have a prayer remembering this. That's why I don't even try to. Yeah. But shoot, I guess we'll go ahead and call it quits for now. It's been a little over an hour. But I'll still be doing another Q&A because this was a live stream test, but we turned it into a Q&A. But we'll be doing another Q&A that is officially named a Q&A. And it'll be around the same time length. One quick question: can you do one car Uber Eats and another vehicle just UberX on the same app? Yeah, you can do that. Like, each car is a profile, so you could just have two profiles and then just swap them that way. Or you can have them all on the same car, but your car has to qualify for both. Like, almost anything will qualify for Uber Eats, but only certain cars will qualify for UberX. Does it have 4 cars? Is it a 2003 or newer, etc.? Like, you want to check on that first. But yeah, you can have two profiles. All right. This last question: what is UberX? Is it the type of car, or did they change their name? UberX is the standard, the stereotypical like Uber you've heard. Like, I'm gonna order Uber. It's called the economy option, but it's when you're picking up people. So um, let's say I need to go to the mall and my car's in the shop. I order Uber. Most people are gonna order like UberX. Thanks so much for doing live stream. Highly appreciate it. It was great. Hey, happy I can help, Jose. I always say that when it comes to these apps, training is key. And shoot, I love to share that training with y'all. Because I know what it is to be out there and just kind of, you don't want to be at the mercy of just an algorithm to give you money. You got to learn how to pimp that algorithm and know like certain things about the wait time fee, getting the pickup fee, etc. So I'm happy I could help. But we're gonna go ahead and cut off the live stream now. I'll be posting when I'll do the next Q&A pretty soon, and definitely keep your eyes out for that. All right, y'all. Peace out.